You blinked, and Dan Campbell is already eyeing reinforcements that could shake up the Lions' 2025 draft strategy. And it's not just that he's hunting for raw talent in every round, from a 20-year-old beast who reshaped his body to become a quarterback's worst nightmare, to an Egyptian prospect who didn't even pick up a football until he was 18 and is now putting up scary numbers. But hold on, the surprises don't stop there. Campbell also wants to get younger at wide receiver, even though the top two guys aren't even 26 yet. What's going on in Detroit? Stay tuned, because today's video is packed with potential moves that could shape the Lions' future. Don't miss a single detail of this hot update. Smash that like button and let's get into it. Alright, let's take a trip through all 7 rounds of the 2025 NFL Draft and figure out which edge rushers could be a perfect fit for Dan Campbell's Motor City Maulers. The Detroit Lions. Shout out to Jeff Risdon over at Lions Wire for tossing this idea out there. I loved it so much I had to cook up my own version. Let's roll. Starting off strong in the first round, we're talking about Nick Scarton from Texas A&M. Both Jeff and I landed on this beast for a reason. Scarton is just 20 years old, which means he's still got room to grow, and that's exactly the kind of long-term upside Brad Holmes loves. The dude slimmed down from 280 to 257 to get more explosive off the edge, and the Lions love when guys trim the fat to boost their athleticism. See Alan McNeil or Broderick Martin for proof. On the field, he racked up 37 pressures and 4 sacks last year, not quite his previous numbers, but with that body reset, he's primed to bounce back. Second round, say hello to Landon Jackson from Arkansas. He's been creeping up draft boards lately, but not so much that he's out of reach. Right now, he's a mid-second round guy, and he's earned it. Solid tape, strong senior bowl, and a respectable combine performance. His 35 pressures and 7 sacks last season show he can bring the heat. In the third, we're dialing up Syvion Jones from LSU. This guy owned the Senior Bowl. Explosive, twitchy, and you can see the raw tools. He's got some Houston-like juice, meaning James Houston, with a couple of signature pass rush moves already polished. The rest still needs work, but he's got steal potential written all over him with 43 pressures and 5 sacks on his 2024 resume. Fourth round's all about Ahmed Hassanein out of Boise State. This might be one of the more underrated names in the class. The dude had 62 pressures and 10 sacks last season. Oh, and he only started playing football at 18 after moving from Egypt. Raw? Yes, but that's insane progress in such a short time. Developmental goldmine. Come round 5, I'm looking at Fadil Diggs from Syracuse. After transferring from A&M, Diggs got the playing time he needed and made it count, 42 pressures and 8 sacks in 2024. He's got the tools, but his game needs refining. Give him time in a proper scheme, and he could be something. Sixth round brings us to Tyler Batty from BYU. This guy's relentless 42 pressures, 29 hurries, and 15 QB hits. He's got effort, just lacks that burst to consistently finish the job. Also, he'll be 25 when the season starts, so there's a little age factor. And finally, 7th round, we've got a potential feel-good reunion with Steve Linton from Baylor. The Lions just hired his position coach from Baylor, Caleb Collins, and that connection could give Linton a real shot. His previous stops didn't pop, but he found his groove last year with 25 pressures and 5 sacks. Bottom line, the Lions could find pass rush help on pretty much any day of the draft. Whether it's an early investment like Scarton or a late round flyer like Linton, there are options everywhere. Alright Lions fans, what do you think of those edge rushers in each round? Is there one you'd love to see rocking Honolulu blue? Drop your pick in the comments. But don't go anywhere, this next story might catch you even more off guard, especially after Dan Campbell's surprising take on the wide receiver room. Alright, so here's a bit of a curveball out of Allen Park. Dan Campbell wants to get younger at wide receiver, which if you watched the Lions last season, might have you raising an eyebrow or two. Let's get this straight. Detroit's wideout room balled out in 2024. Amon-Ra St. Brown did exactly what we've come to expect. 115 grabs, 1,963 yards, and 12 touchdowns. The dude is a machine. Then there's Jameson Williams, who finally turned that corner and showed why Detroit snagged him at number 12 overall in 2022. He went off for 1,001 yards and 7 scores on 58 catches. So with those two lighting it up, Dan's latest comment caught folks off guard. At the NFL owners meetings, Campbell told reporters he wants to bring in some young blood to the WR room. He shouted out guys like Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, St. Brown, and Jamo, but emphasized wanting to stir in some youthful competition. Now, here's the kicker, St. Brown is just 25. And Williams literally just turned 24. So when Dan says younger, he's really talking about depth guys and long-term development pieces. Translation, WR3 or lower on the depth chart. With that in mind, it doesn't make much sense to spend a first rounder on a receiver this year, especially with how underwhelming this draft class is shaping up. After the top 3 guys, it's a steep drop-off. Most of the late first-round options come with red flags, and none of them scream instant impact. Instead, the Lions should play it smart and look at day 2 or 3 prospects guys with upside who won't be forced into big roles right away. Think Jalen Royals, who's been crazy productive at Utah State. Or Trey Harris, who could be a big play threat in John Morton's offense that's shifting toward more explosive chunk plays. Even someone like Savion Williams makes sense. He's got the size to potentially slide into Tim Patrick's WR3 role down the line. Bottom line? The Lions have bigger fish to fry, like sorting out right guard, especially with Graham Glasgow hitting 32 and slowing down or locking down another edge rusher. So yeah, get younger at WR. Sure. But don't reach, wait it out, let the draft come to you, and scoop value on day 2 or 3. No need to get cute and reach at 29. Let me be real, speaking as a critical Lions fan, the strategy makes sense, but it also raises some eyebrows. If there's this much pass rush talent available through all 7 rounds, there's no excuse to miss. But wanting to get younger at wide receiver? Feels weird when St. Brown and Jamo are basically still kids. If they're gonna make a move, it better be smart target value on day 2 or 3 and focus on real needs first. Let the WR stuff wait. Now it's your turn. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single update about your favorite team. Let's keep this conversation going.